speak to Richard Johnson. He's a senior lecturer in U.S. politics at Queen Mary University in London. Richard, it's always great to see you. One primary after another. There's a lot to talk about.
It seemingly never ends. Good to be with you.
Richard, let's start with perhaps what the primary contest that stands out to you the most.
Well, I guess the one that probably stands out the most is the Florida Senate contest, where you had Angie Nixon, a Democratic socialist, win the nomination against Alex Vindman, who had outspent her 16-1. I mean, the general theme of this year's primaries is between a left-wing Democrat, whether they call themselves a Democratic socialist or just a progressive, versus a more middle-of-the-road Democrat. I wouldn't say conservative Democrat, but just more center-left Democrat. And in this contest, in a red state like Florida, and I think we can call Florida a pretty red state at this stage, you have a Democratic socialist win and the nomination. And people might think that's a little strange, but I wonder here because if that actually makes it. There's a dilemma for voters. Do I vote for the person I agree with the most, maybe a more left-wing person, or do I vote for the more electable person? But if I'm in a state where I don't think the Democrats actually are going to win in the general election, I can just vote for the person I agree with. And I wonder if that's what's happened in this Senate race. Basically, Democrats knew that it was a low chance that either candidate would defeat Ashley Moody. And so they just went out and thought, you know what, I'm actually going to vote for the person that I most agree with.
And what do you think that the takeaway message for the National Democratic Party would be with Nixon emerging as the winner in the Democratic primary?
Well, I guess for the National Democratic Party, all of these Democratic socialists who get nominated, whether they're in seats that Democrats think they have a chance of winning, like in Michigan, which is a must-win set, or in Florida, where frankly I think the probability of a Democrat winning that Florida seat is pretty low. The knock-on consequence is that Republicans across America might be watching very carefully what those Democratic socialists are saying on the campaign trail, ready to clip their speeches and comments or to comb through their past history, and then to tie in more moderate Democrats with the Democratic socialists in more moderate swing seats. And so you've got to think this is not just about the Democrats' chances in that particular seat. What are the implications down ballot in competitive House races? What are the implications laterally? I mean, I think it's quite interesting. The Democrats nominated a former Republican for the governorship in Florida, where I think the Democrats do have a better chance. I think Byron Donalds, the Republican nominee, is a weaker candidate. That was shown by the lack of he didn't win overwhelming support from Republican voters in the primary, and really that suggests there's probably a bit of a lack of enthusiasm to him. Does Byron Donalds try to associate David Jolly with Angie Nixon, David Jolly being the Democratic nominee for governor? Does he try to tie them together? And that might be an awkward thing for David Jolly. How does he disassociate himself from his fellow Democrat who is standing for the Senate, but on a much more left-wing program? So it's the ripple effect of these candidates that I think National Democrats might be concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, and to your earlier point, I mean, how much work will Donalds actually have to put into this campaign, given that the odds are certainly in his favor, with registered Republicans outnumbering Democrats? I have about 30 seconds with you, Richard. A closing thought on this latest round of primaries and the road to the midterms.
It wasn't a clear sweep for either the left of the Democratic Party or the middle of the Democratic Party. You can look in some of these contests. You were just showing one of the California House races on a knife edge. The in Florida, the same voters who voted for a Democratic Socialist Senate candidate voted for a former Republican to be their gubernatorial candidate. The Democrats have not fallen overwhelmingly to one side or the other. So that means the battle for the future of the Democratic Party will continue to rage, not just in this midterm elections, but the next set of elections as well.
I feel like that really is the theme of all of these primaries the last couple of weeks. Richard Johnson, as always, pleasure having you on. Thanks for your analysis.
Thank you.